Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Viant Panther Presents. Today, we start off Sunday by discussing Jamie Foxx's new movie, Day Shift, on Netflix, which premiered on Friday. Vampire action ensues. Father trying to do well by his daughter, some shit. But anyway, Chris, what you got? What you think?
You know what I noticed sometimes with you, anytime when you reviews, I could tell when you don't like something. when you say like when they do something or some shit. Anytime you say some shit, that's like an indication like oh damn. Like anytime. Yo, I'm gonna tell you this. I really enjoyed this one. This was really entertaining. I felt like this movie was self-aware that it was just going to just be a ridiculous film and whatnot. And I don't know, there's something charming to stuff like that. You know what I mean? This gave me a lot of like Buffy the Vampire vibes, like the movie, the original movie.
Yeah, I remember.
Because a lot of people forget, like, because they remember the show and they forget that the movie version was comedic. Yeah, like freaking like putting a stake through Paul Rubin's chest, and he's like, and then all the little jokes,
hilarious,
like David Arquette, like
hilarious.
This gave me a lot of like vibes, like that stuff, like if you're into like Shaun of the Dead. I would say the action in this I thought was a huge highlight for this. I thought pretty much all the action scenes they did was great for a movie that didn't try to take itself too seriously. They spent some money on some choreography, in my opinion, and it reminded me of Hot Fuzz. I don't know if you saw Hot Fuzz. That's another good classic.
All right,
and it's it's a comedic film with these like kind of like out of shape police officers, but in the action you're just like, damn, like what the hell? Like, oh, I didn't know it was like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like on some Jason Bourne stuff. Like it just, so Dave Franco, I always find Dave Franco really funny and stuff, and I'm glad he's always stuff like that, but you're starting to see him a lot more. Obviously, he's in a couple of Apple TV product stuff, and I thought having him as this nerdy consultant who can't help but pee himself over and over again was great. Megan Good, still looking good. You know what I mean? She on the market. Anything that can get her away from that damn Brooklyn show. What was it, Queens?
Harlem.
Bronx? Harlem. See, I got one of. It was one of the boroughs.
It was one of those places. It was one of the boroughs.
Yeah, I like how I said everything but Harlem. Like I named literally all of them, pretty much all of them.
It's Queens. Yeah, she's from Queens.
I was like Queens, Brooklyn, Bronx. Like it's like Harlem. God
damn it.
Yeah. Yeah. So overall, and then you got Uncle Snoop. You know what I mean? It's always fun to see Snoop and stuff. Snoop playing the badass. He kind of looked like Bones, like his Bones character with the whole cowboy hat and everything. I thought he was kind of funny. You know what I mean? He always got to wear his blue. I love it. You know what I mean? It must be written in his contract like the homie gotta wear his blue.
Gotta wear blue.
And I like, I do, I feel like the West Coast, playing a lot of West Coast music, it's clear that they just wanted to let you know this is West Coast, this is Cali, you know what I mean, over and over again, you know what I mean. But it was nice to hear Nipsey Hussle on the radio too. So overall it was cool. Obviously there's a lot, I know you, but obviously there's a lot of plot holes or whatever. But I think when you have movies like that, it doesn't give a shit. You see what I'm saying? Because that's not the intent. I think a lot of people, I heard someone try to compare this to Bright, and I was like, you can't do that because Bright tried to take itself seriously. Yeah. That's a serious film.
Too bad.
You know what I mean? So that one you can just like dissect and be like, oh, here's this issue or whatnot. But then if you're trying to go in science, like, well, I don't understand. His head was taken off, but then all of a sudden there's a healing thing. I'm like, bro, no, you're overthinking that shit. Like, no, this is a comedy. Stop using your brain. You're not supposed to use any brain cells when you watch movies like this. Just have fun. And yeah, so overall, I enjoyed it. You know what I mean? I thought it was a nice little thing to kind of watch on the weekend. So pretty cool.
Once you said the original movie Buffy the Vampire Slayer, right, and that like theme, I now see the movie in that light, and I'm like, yeah, like that I'll go with that. And I'm like, all right. So once you frame your mind like that, like silly comedy, right? Then I'm like, okay, that's what you get. Funny, but a dumbass movie. Yes. Someone put in the comments, yes. I would definitely say that I'm happy I watched this on Netflix. That if I would have saw this shit in the theaters, I would have been mad as fuck. But that being said, the movie Meet the Blacks 2, The House Next Door, where Cat Williams played a vampire who moved in the neighborhood next to Mike Epps.
What's the name of it? Oh, you said Meet the Blacks.
It's under, so it's called The House Next Door, and like subtitle is Meet the Blacks 2, because Meet the Blacks 1 was Mike Epps' effort to parody The Purge, and then Meet the Blacks 2 was his parody of vampire movies, in essence.
So this sounds like that movie's trying to be more like Scary Movie though.
Yeah, but I'm saying, my point, like when I saw this movie, that's what was my standard of silly black ass like vampire movie, and that movie was almost trying to be like Fright Night to me, vampire living next door, no one believes you, you're trying to prove it, and then in the end you turn out to be right, some shit.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. But like, no, yeah, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I will give you for this. My main problem, which they should, to comedy or not, basic storyline, right? Jamie Foxx is killing vampires to earn enough money to pay for his kids' tuition and braces. Correct? We saw neither at the end of this movie. Like I wanted to flash forward to see some.
Yeah, there was no resolution. There was no. That was one of the critiques I was going to bring up. Was like there was no resolution to that. Like clearly there's like a Men in Black type of service going on with this mysterious organization, but you don't really know like where it stemmed from and all that. And I was under the impression that the whole world knew about the vampires, but then when you saw Megan Good's expression, it was like vampires, and I was like, oh, the world, like they don't know about vampires. I was like, oh, okay, well, like, you know what I mean? So that was not made clear.
Well, so that's my two main, one, the silliness that I'm killing vampires in 5 days to pay for my kids' tuition and teeth. I'm like, all right, let's just go with that. Show me the teeth, show me the money. That's what I'm saying. Because you remember when he tried to cash in the teeth before, and because of taxes and regulations and some other bullshit, like he didn't get the money he thought he was going to get.
Yeah. I was waiting for him to get an elder, like everything for me when he said, hey, you don't have an elder teeth, or he was talking about that mysterious, like it's like that 600-year-old, like a 700-year-old
never popped up.
I was like, when I heard that, I was like, oh, well, I like, you know how like you watch enough movies and when they give you a little trigger thing, you're like, well, I know where this movie's going towards.
Yeah.
But then it was like, yank, it was like Lucy pulling the football away from Charlie Brown, like, psych, like, oh, like, oh, okay, yeah, missed opportunity, maybe.
That's
maybe cold.
Stop it. That's my other problem. He should have cashed in those teeth, at least made the 10 or 15 grand that he needed to take care of his family. They should have showed that, or super Dracula level vampire, which Aubrey was not. Like, you never saw said vampire. And like, I would not be surprised if there's a sequel. I could see them making a dumbass sequel to this. I can see that for that Men in Black type of thing. Like, we're still, especially with Snoop Dogg's character, like popping up, whatever, like it's not over type of thing. But I'm like, basic shit they didn't even take care of, and that just irritated the fuck out of me, man. I'm like, so anyway, Stacey's not here and Kim are not here because they said this movie was shit, and that's why they're not here. So I'm saying that on their behalf.
Yeah, I don't. But you know what? I hate to just they're not the target audience. You know what I mean? I mean, a lot of people who I even talk to, like, because we have a chat group with folks at work, and with one girl in it. And no surprise, the one girl was the one that didn't like that. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't expect for me to watch Bridgerton and be like, oh man, it's amazing. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying that this movie's like 300 by any means or anything like that, but it's just like the movie knew what it was, and it's like, and it's one of those things where it's like you fall in the category where you like those dumb action comedies, or you just don't. And then, you know what I mean? It's like finding someone who don't like Anchorman. Like I be finding them, and I'm like, and I look at it like, oh, of course you don't. Like, you know what I mean?
Buffy the Vampire Slayer met its goal. Like, it established there was a major vampire that
did it though? It flopped horribly.
No, it did, but
no, it flopped so bad. And if anything, the show actually only after the show came out, when it became serious, where people tried to then maybe re-examine it. You know what I mean? But that was like almost a decade later.
I'm saying storytelling. So it accomplished.
You know, we just saw this 2 days. Let's re-examine this in like 5-10 years when they turn this into an actual show. You don't want to see no pool boy. You don't want to see nothing about no pool boys.
No,
pool boy. Like it can be bought by. It could be bought by Stars and the homegirl who did P Valley.
It'd be bought by like BT Plus, and then it'd be something.
BT Plus.
So the first fight, right? Our first introduction into the killing of the vampire world, right? Like I said, the fight choreography was awesome. The fact that the actor probably was like kind of a contortionist, and they were able to do all that shit was awesome, right? I was like, I'm like, okay, this is something, but it went on too long, and you're talking about a vampire in the daytime, motherfucker. Open the blinds, which are right there, like. That's
he can't do that. He can't, because then he can't get the fangs. Remember, he's all about the fangs. He even told Dave Franco, he's like, "Why don't you just do this? Like, why don't you light them on fire?" He's like, "Then I can't. If they disintegrate, I can't get the fangs." He's all about the fangs, and that's why he always goes off book. He said that. So you know what I mean?
Light does not disintegrate them because others got hit by light and they were hurt. Like when Aubrey put that one we never found out who he was. The vampire, she was trying to move on his territory and she was like using the sun to burn. They would burn them. It would slow them down, but they didn't just puff. They didn't explode like they did in Blade.
Well, I mean, I don't know if he wanted to play around with the timing of how long it would take before he disintegrates and be like, "Oh shit, I let him out too long." Like having Gizmo out. Like, you know what I mean? It's like I don't like. It just, I don't know.
Basic.
The reason why he didn't like, because that's why I like that they had Dave Franco's character, because he said the most obvious stuff. He was like, "Motherfucker, I'm in it for the money." Like, you know what I mean? Like the side hustle shit. You know what I mean? And Jamie was feeling himself and that's the thing. He always was feeling himself way too much. They just like, "I don't need no light. I can just do it with my shoddy and everything else." And then stuff gets hairy, and he's like, "Oh, I'm good. What you talking about? I'm good." Like when he wasn't, you know what I mean?
It wasn't good. There's basic shit that they ignored, bro. Like when you like in Twilight, sunlight doesn't hurt the vampire, so that's not a thing.
Don't you?
What I'm saying is,
I'm about to end this. I'm about to end this video. You talking about some damn Twilight?
When you set my point is, when you set the rules to your universe, you use the rules to your universe. Like that irritate the fuck out of me.
Yeah, but that's the thing. But that's why he made a point to bring that up. It wasn't like it was just a secret of why he did not want to do daylight. He said, if that happens, I cannot get the fangs. I had to keep the body intact. He made that clear several times.
That's why he didn't use sunlight, because we never saw.
No, the sunlight. No. So the thing is, though. So I mean, where I will agree with you is that they were inconsistent in the sense of one. What, like, to your point, the person who had semen on him, it took him a long time. Meanwhile, one of the brothers, the German brothers, they like put some light in and they just kind of like pop really fast. You see what I'm saying?
All right.
So you know what I mean. So but the reason why he particularly don't do it is because he's hoping to get like that golden prize, you know what I mean, which he never got. I don't think he got.
I don't think he got. I also got a Blade vibe to it. The whole like young hotshot vampire trying to take over the day and trying to get everybody to bow down to him. Like, so Aubrey's character was giving me the like the villain in Blade, like that kind of vampire. This is the first movie that I can remember seeing where like the teeth were a measure of the vampire's age and therefore like their hierarchy. I thought that was kind of interesting. Like I did like that. They tried to ground the idea,
and then they create like different versions of them, like a different like if you were a vampire, if you were a youngster that was a vampire and you turn other folks, you become like basically like the zombified type versions, which reminded me of what was that Zack Snyder movie that we all saw about the zombies with Batista? That was Army of the Dead, like where they had like a hierarchy of different zombies, and only if you were bit by like the elder is where you kind of kept your intelligence and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So so that was kind of, but to your point about sequels, when they started introducing all that stuff like that, I'm like, are they planning to do something? You know what I mean? So, who knows?
If they would have showed that senior vampire that they mentioned, then maybe we could go with that. Like, I really thought you're going to find that Aubrey was working for said senior vampire, or trying to overthrow senior vampire, and like none of that happened. The neighbor being a porn star never went anywhere. The fact that they somehow figured out where Jamie Foxx, when Aubrey licked the blood off of that piece of glass or whatever that went into Jamie Foxx during the fight, and I thought like that's was how they hunted. Like they would be like a hound dog. Like I got the taste of said human, and then that's how I'm gonna find them. I thought they're gonna go that route, and then they didn't. But
they couldn't. But then remember. So the thing is, though, she even said that they could. It's like I can't the one that was underneath her said they couldn't trace him, right? But that's why Jamie even told Dave Franco put on that yellow stuff, that little powder or whatnot. It's to kind of wipe away that scent. It's like anytime, you know what I mean?
Oh,
so
okay,
that's what that, you see what I'm saying? And
right.
he just told him, now I do, it's going to sound maybe TMI, but I am curious what happens if you do get in your butthole. Like they never said, they said it was a lot worse, but I'm like, where's how? When you hallucinating, and all of a sudden you start singing Mary Poppins tunes? Like what?
I need to see it. I need to see the butthole experience.
Know what?
Why would you bring it up?
Joke. Like those 90s comedies and whatnot, when they make jokes like that, usually there's a post-credit scene like, like they'll show something like that. I don't know why I was thinking that they would do that and they didn't. I don't know. I was waiting for a booty hole scene. I'm like, and then I see, damn, yeah.
That random ass neighbor again. Hello, I'm Damien. Whatever fuck's thing, I'm Bud. They meet. He sees someone in her room. I thought she was some kind of witness protection program. Then I'm like, no, again, they found his neighbor, turned his neighbor to just spy on him instead of just, killing him.
Did they cut something out from that?
See,
it seemed like, because that was one of the critiques I had too. It was like, they made it seem like to get closer. See, no joke. I know you hate me when I say stuff like that, but I really do think they might have filmed some more stuff, because she said the words like, she had me try to get closer to you, or whatnot.
Yeah,
but or maybe she just meant literally closer, not like close, like snuggle up buddies closer.
You were looking for that love interest, right? That
I thought that was
doing. Like you thought they were going that route. You thought they were going that route, and then turned out that she was like a plant. Like I thought they were going to go that route. I thought the same thing, that you're going to see them more interact, and he was going to be like, "Hey, I'm leaving my wife, but you were kind of cool and whatever." And then she turns out.
And let me tell you, that's the most patient wife I've ever seen, because for the longest time I'm like, "There's no way they're together." Like not for real. When she kept saying, "I want my husband back," I'm like,
"What?
Where you find someone like that?" Like.
To put up with your lying ass for all.
I was like, is she desperate? Like, what's going on?
And then what does she do for a living that she can't even help? She's like, I need $5,000 for this. I need another $7,000 for this, and that you need to do it while I clean these floors. And somehow that
she don't do nothing, which is why she said she was going to live with her mother.
I was like,
no, I'm not joking. No, like.
I was like, what?
She kind of made it clear. She's like, I'm gonna live, like my mother said, just to go back down there to live with her.
No. I was like, this was unnecessary, bro. I was like, this don't make no sense.
I was like, nah, just take yourself back to Harlem. Like, dude,
this wasn't it. You should. Jamie Foxx should have been a single father. Wife died because of a vampire slaying, which is how he got into the business. Then, and he's struggling to take care of his kid. Like that makes sense. Like maybe. He meets the young lady at the hotel, apartment building. He said, "Can you take care of my child?" Whatever. That's how you get that relationship going. Turns out she's a vampire, whatever. Like they could have did it like better. And then,
right.
Franco's character was absolutely hilarious. The whole disgruntled buddy cop thing they had going on. I was like, this is hilarious. And then. It was cool. It was all right. Again, I'm glad I watched it. I watched it at home. I couldn't. No, theater. This is not a theater movie.
Well, no, I mean, when they make movies like this, I mean, I don't think they ever intend some stuff like that to be. You see what I'm saying? Like they don't put that much budget into it. I
say again, Meet the Blacks 1 and 2 went to theaters. and it
Oh
made
well,
me some
let
money.
me ask you, who made that though? See, sometimes they you just got stupid ass corporations. You got
Well,
stupid
I
ass
mean,
production.
there's those,
You know?
those are those set of movies where it's like if it's
And
50,
then you
like
got movies where it's like they will release it on TV, and you're thinking like, damn, why isn't that in the theaters? Like Prey,
per I was,
Prey should have been like, you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like,
Well,
you know,
again, so now we're talking post COVID. I'm saying pre COVID, this movie would have been put in the theaters in August when they're trying to get rid of those movies before
what
the
this one
fall.
day shift? You mean Netflix is this one? Netflix
Oh no,
exclusive?
this wouldn't have been this would not be this whatever
Oh,
whatever company produced 50 Shades of Black with
that.
Marlon Wayans and Meet the Blacks, like that kind of crowd would have made this
That's right.
movie, stuck it in the theater with a budget of maybe $60 million, and they would have made their money back. Like this ain't trying to compete with Top Gun 2, but it would there's an audience. I mean, there's an audience for this movie,
Yeah.
and it would have made some money. But I'm like, I
Right.
was like, yeah, with Snoop Dogg and Jamie Foxx alone, people would have came to see it. Which
Yeah,
the only reason I
but
watched
you know, speaking of Snoop Dogg, one thing. See, the thing is, because you kind of brought it up when you were talking about certain things they would bring up, and it was kind of like incomplete, like why not go anywhere? Like talking about like the 700-year-old elder and whatnot. Another thing that they kind of laid the groundwork on was like that Snoop Dogg was just this player, right?
yeah.
Not that I needed to like obviously not no. It just kind of seemed like we saw him holler at two girls, and I thought it was going to be something maybe like he distracts some female vampire, like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like similar to like the other guys. If you remember the other guys, Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg, like only these super hot women like were just so into Will Ferrell, and then Mark Wahlberg couldn't wrap his mind around it. And then finally, I guess it worked in their advantage because like the bad guy who has like this female like companion and whatnot was like, oh my precious, I couldn't shoot him. Like I can't shoot that pretty face. You know what I mean? I thought it was going to be something like that, you know, and we didn't get it, you know, but whatever. You know.
No, you're absolutely that also did not go anywhere and it was completely unnecessary. So Kim wanted me to point out that Snoop's eyes kept on bugging out, and she thought he was sick or something. She's like, why is his eyes always like? And I was like, I don't know. But that was kind of freaking her out. I thought
he's also like 50, isn't he? Isn't he like 50 years old? He's
older than that. Older than that. I mean, I would imagine. But I mean,
yeah, you know, he's no young guy.
Spring chicken. I mean, I think Jamie Foxx is in his 50s. Jamie Foxx should be in his 50s. Like Snoop should be almost.
Well, I guess the difference is though between the two is that Jamie Foxx clearly always hits the gym and stuff like that. Like, you know, Snoop Dogg ain't really like he hitting something, but he ain't hitting this ain't the gym. He be hitting.
That's also in his contract. He's like, I will. So to your point, was it
him and Willie?
What was the movie where he played a killer pimp? Was that Bones?
Oh, that was Bones. That was Bones.
Back in the day, early 2000s.
Yeah, 2001.
I feel like part 2 could be that. Like if they wanted to try to make this serious or whatever, like part 2 could be him taking over the street vampire game, and like he just take on that persona.
And this is so you basically saying this is the prequel to Bones.
No, absolutely not. I'm just saying that he could just take on that persona, the straight hair, fucking, you know, like because he wasn't a vampire, he was an evil spirit because they killed him.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because he's a murderer. You're right. Yeah.
But I'm saying they could. I mean, I can see them. They should not do that. But I mean, if they wanted to,
but if they did, allowed to do it.
Aubrey, the lead vampire, she was actually on How to Get Away with Murder.
How to Get Away with Murder. Yeah, she's one of the characters I got annoyed with on that show.
Yeah,
but, which is why I stopped watching. I couldn't even tell you what happened. I just remember when the black kid died, I was like, yeah, this show sucks. Like, shout out to Viola Davis, but show sucked. So it got.
She had that.
I just didn't care anymore.
I was like, this made no sense.
Became the same deals. Like, you slept with who, and then now like it's just like ABC at its finest, y'all. Like, no. So I was done. You know what I mean? No, it started becoming like Scandal. It just reminded me of Scandal, where it was just like, because I stopped watching that one too. I couldn't even tell you what happened and like, I don't, who cares at this point? I don't care. You know what I mean? So, but I did recognize her, and I was like, oh, okay. I was like, oh yeah, she's in it. All right. Hopefully she's better in this. You know what I mean?
No. But my issue, the reason I bring it up is because I hate to say it, like, she doesn't look Latin to me. Like, so when she starts speaking Spanish, Like it fucks me up. Like when she did it and How to Get Away with Murder, and she did it here, like it really fucked me up to be like, no, she's legit like Latin. Like I thought she was trying too hard in both roles, but to be like all of a sudden she's like, I'm Latin, just in case you didn't know that.
Damn, dude, you never been to Costa Rica?
I'm not saying it's not possible, man. I'm just telling you what happens.
But there's so many. There's several Latin countries where it's like literally they look like your typical white guys.
I believe. I'm not saying it doesn't exist.
But the problem is, I guess to your point, I guess in the U.S. because you always see like the typical Dominicans or Puerto Ricans,
Mexicans, Salvadorians, like those guys. So anyway, that was part of my own thing. And then also I like to point out that Jamie Foxx's friend who ran the pawn shop was the old dude. He's always that go-to actor, but he was the guy from Bad Boys 2,
American Gods,
a bunch of stuff. Yeah, John Wick 2. He played the first villain that John Wick killed in 2, who had his car.
He's a fucking dog. Like, you know what I mean?
Accent never changes. He's like, this is me.
He don't need it. You know what? He had a reality show on Discovery.
Really?
Where him and his partner went to basically to look at the the ancestors of of their people, of like their traditional stuff, and even led them to the US, like stuff in the US, and it's like I guess his cousin and whatnot. And everyone said, "Oh, he's such a nice guy." Like, he plays this character, and apparently he's like, they show him he's like really like like this happy guy. It will, if you watch it, it will completely mess you up because it is like, have you seen videos of Joffrey, the kid who plays Joffrey in Game of Thrones? You've seen him in interviews. He's always like smiling and laughing and whatnot. Yeah. You know how like that kind of people said, yeah, that's weird seeing that this guy is actually a nice guy. That's the same deal with this guy. It's just like, he's such a cool guy. Everyone like in town knows him by name. They're like, wow, he's so cool. He does stuff for the community. You're like, no, he's supposed to bring death and pain to you. Like, no, like that don't sound right. Maybe Machete, maybe Danny Trejo. Like, I can see that, but this guy, no.
The little girl was cool. Like, his daughter was cool. The scene where she's completely enthralled in her game while he's driving crazy. I was like, this, all right. Yeah. Then I was like, but it was
and then Scott Adkins, Scott freaking Adkins, and like in the with him and the homie from Shameless who played the brothers or whatnot. You got to see him flaunt his martial arts skills. I mean, obviously, you guys know who Scott is if you watch stuff from Undisputed to even some of the stunt work from the Star Wars films, all kinds of stuff. He's just that dude. That's the homie right there. So seeing him in this stuff, him doing his own stunts while taking out the vampires were freaking awesome. Shout out just the choreography. Period. I know I said that earlier, but yeah.
It was legit. I mean, it was legit. The fighting was legit. Some fights took too damn long, but I like the effort they put into the.
Did it though?
No, that first
one. Can fight scenes ever take too long?
Yes.
Because no, if they're done well, it's impossible. But because say for example, that's like saying the fight scene and They Live between Keith David and Roddy Piper took too long. People said that is like one of the longest fight scenes in like fist fights or whatever, just that was shown like in the 80s, 90s film. But guess what? It's also seen as a classic because they just did not give up. They just kept hitting each other over and over and over again. If it's done right, there's no such thing as it going too long.
This wasn't done right, and it was too long. Like that opening scene, the opening scene with the grandma took too.
Oh, see, okay. You want to keep talking about that, but I was talking about the scene with the brothers.
The scene with the brothers was cool. The scene with the brothers was cool. I'm just saying, like some of the other shit was too much. But what happened to the brothers? I don't even remember. Did they die or something? Like, why the fuck were they?
No. They lived, but they were just called to that job. They're part of that agency too. So they were dispatched, and then.
But like you said, if this was named after, what is the name of the agency? Did we even get the name of the agency?
No.
See.
Nah, you know what though? What I think what would be kind of awesome though is just like what they did with Army of the Dead. You get a spinoff, just like they had a spinoff with the homie who did the Unlock the Keys and whatever. Yeah. Maybe get one of the brothers and whatnot, and then we'll get the whole name thing. That was kind of crazy. I wanted more info. Like I was cool with it being like a Men in Black thing, but it's just more like, at least give us some information about it. You know what I mean? Torn kind of gave us.
We like you Men in Black. We were established here. Our mission is like they did all that to be like, you know, and this is who we are. We're international. Like we're not just in America. And like that was cool. So you understood the framework of what you're dealing with, right? Like this was just some random ass shit. Like you were just like, who are these dudes?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
the reason why I didn't ask that question at first, because I was under the impression watching the movie that everyone in this world knew that vampires exist. And it was just, so basically all you just had was just police service, just like you have the police and you got FBI and stuff like that. I just thought it was like something that was just established for vampires. So I was originally okay with them like not getting so much info and they just go by the little ticker thing and all that, until you find out through Meagan Good that this ain't normal to people, or I'm assuming that's like her reaction was like vampires don't exist, right? So you know what I mean? Like when you told like the whole vampire hunter, she's like vampire hunter, that's funny. You know what I mean? So so then at that point, I was like, no, it really is Men in Black. It's supposed to be a secret. So who are you then? Who are you? Yeah, you know what I mean? I guess Snoop Dogg kind of made it known, the fact that they did the whole secret thing where he put his thumbprint and
that's just security.
I guess it's like a Men in Black thing right there. So
I'm saying that's just security, bro. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like if you work in a building that
that was them going to a skiff or something.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So I mean, but to you anyway, we both agree it's supposed to be a secret society. They actually did more clunky dialogue to explain who the vampires were and their history than the organization that was fighting the vampires. You know, and I thought that was just, you know, just kind of off. But again, like I said, it was supposed to be a fun movie. I don't want to talk about this no more. Will you be interested in part 2?
Yeah, I would actually. I would actually, you know, especially if you bring the same comedy and the same action with this. I definitely would. I thought the comedic timing of the stuff was spot on. You know, I thought it was great. You know, the action thought was legit too. So, and then they play a lot of, you know, I love me some Cali hip hop too. So the fact they were playing all that stuff, I was like, all right, you know, I'm down with that. So, you know, just work on the plot a little bit. I mean, but at the same time, when you watch movies like that, you're not really looking at it for the plot. You know what I mean? So, you know, if this was a serious film, I would probably be like attacking the shit out of this. But I'm not, because I knew what it was meant to just have a good time. So yeah, I definitely would see a sequel of this, as long as it's the same type of genre. Do not become serious. The moment you become serious, it becomes a very shit movie. You know what I mean? So yeah.
I comedy aside, I understand. You know, action was overall decent. I was like, comedy, I understand. Now I understand the theme. This just gave me the vibes of a retro late 90s like MTV movie. Like with all the music in it, like I could have seen the original MTV when they actually did music videos and shit, like post like Tupac's album, like putting this movie together. And I would have been like, got it. Like that's where I would have saw this movie and been like, okay, I could watch a part 2 because I know what I'm getting into. But yes, definitely, you need to get this plot together so we figure out who the hell these people are and why we're still fighting and who the senior vampire is. They never explained how they were walking in the daytime. Eventually, they just chalked it up to some very
they said there was a sunscreen, super
sunscreened. Yeah. I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, and then again, that took me back to Blade. I was like, but they just, I don't know. I was like, come on. I thought it was gonna be more sinister. I thought they came up with some super formula and they were making the super day walker. Like I thought that was gonna be the thing. But anyway, they didn't really leave it open to a part 2. But if they did, you know, I mean, Snoop Dogg don't make it a part 2. It just makes it like a surprise thing, as opposed to a serious. Oh my God, is he gonna be the new threat? Is Jamie Foxx gonna form a hybrid vampire human killing team? Is it going to be those 2 vampires plus him? And I mean that could be a thing.
That's like Underworld. Yeah,
it could be, and then they have to start their own agency. Underworld. Once you say that, then in part 2 you can start bringing in the werewolves. You can't have vampires without werewolves, right? So like that.
What if you get a crossover? Because I would maybe Will Smith won't be canceled anymore. There'll be a crossover between this and Bright, and then so you get like the elves, those little, what are they? Elves
let's not do that.
No,
let's not do that, because I thought that movie was straight shit. So I was like, I know. I was like,
that was like a fairy tale version of Training Day.
But
like, that's not. Yeah.
Training Day meets Lord of the Rings because there was so many different creatures in it. I was like, this is shit. I was like, canceled or not canceled, that series needs to be canceled. I mean, I was like,
Right.
I want Hancock 2. I would have Hancock 2 before Bright 2. Hancock was good. Hancock was a good idea. Hancock was a good idea.
Yeah, the problem is I don't know if you can now with the MCU stuff. There's no way you can do a Hancock 2 because we've already seen the whole down on the luck type superhero who's been messing up stuff, trying to save the day and be like, oops, you know what I mean? We already had Thor do that several times. Thor has already screwed up quite a few times. We've seen Ant-Man do that, but
he was more of a Deadpool though. I mean, with his language and he truly did not give a fuck, but he was more of a Deadpool type character.
And so it was great for that time. If you would have created Hancock now, like that same one, and if it came out now with all the stuff we had in MCU, I don't think it would have worked out as well. I just don't. You know what I mean?
I
don't know.
Well, again, if it's part 2, but they get better writers to kind of fix the script, then you're kind of going with it, and then maybe he meets other people from his planet. That's usually what they do. You act like you're the only one, but you're not. So you meet a couple two from your planet and that kind of shit. So then it turns
besides Charlize Theron is a little busy. She's like, why do I need to do Hancock 2 when I'm actually part of MCU?
MCU, baby. And what about the Guard 2 or whatever the fuck? Is that what it's called?
Is that what they supposed to do? A sequel on that?
Yeah.
Oh, were they? Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was in the.
Well, no, that was a good movie. No,
it was good. I mean, I thought she was too pretty for it, but it was a good movie. I mean, it was legit.
That's right. That was your complaint. That was a weird complaint. You said that. You was like, she said, here's my complaint. She's too gorgeous for that.
She's not a hardened warrior. I'm not seeing hardened warrior at all.
You know what? It's funny you say that. A while back when I went to Vegas, it was you know how you sometimes you see homeless people or whatnot. I saw this one girl she was kind of dirty, whatever, but she looked cute as hell, and I was like, "There's no way, she's way too cute to be homeless." You know what I mean? Because to think of it, I'm not trying to compare it to a dog, but if it was a puppy, right? If you saw a puppy strain, what that puppy would not be there half a day before someone scoops that puppy up.
Right? You're pretty.
I got you, little puppy. I got you. And I'm thinking how you must have been homeless 24 hours because there's no way.
You just became homeless.
Became homeless. You know what I mean? You're 4 hours out. Judging by the dirt stains
for a few months. There's no way in the game. There's no way.
Yeah. But so when you said that about Charlize, it just kind of reminded me of that. I'm like, you're way too cute. He's like, got some money. He's like, I got you money. I'll get you. I'll get you some money, and I'll also give you a place to stay. Come on,
right. Everything. Just come on. Come
on.
Speaking of casting, right? Those characters are typecasted, right? Like Machete, right? The guy that we talked about the guy who played in Bad Boys 2, we were just talking about, right?
Right. Yeah.
Milan, the actor that played Milan. None of those men will ever play university professor of biology. Never.
That's not, you know what? You Never. Say that until you see Mark Wahlberg play all these ridiculous ass characters. No. If you can take, I can't drop this Boston accent and make him this Texas Texas, but my point is that it happened.
No, he is Mark. He has a general face and demeanor that you can put him in certain roles. Those actors are the way they look. They will always have work, but there's certain, you are doing certain roles. Milan will always be the villain. Period. That's what
I don't know. I might see Matthew. I might see Woody Harrelson become a retired runway model in the next film. Who knows?
So I'm saying, but he has a more general look. He's done. I just say certain actors I think are just.
I'm being funny because you really don't have a general look.
I was just so. But anyway, that's all. Anyway, guys, we talk about this movie way too long. Chris and I will be back in a few minutes to talk about The Chi. Because damn, what?
Oh shit, that's right. That's right. I wasn't there with y'all last week, but I'll bring up something how I felt probably get me canceled, but a mood I had when I watched the previous episode going on to this episode. So yeah.
All right.